Doctors gave Vince Gill the worst news of his life. After finding a heart problem nobody knew about, they told him he needed surgery right away. Then, his wife, Amy Grant, nearly died in a bike crash. Now, the country star who won 22 Grammys is facing a battle he never saw coming. His daughter can't stop crying. His fans are praying. And the man who wrote the saddest songs in country music is living through his own heartbreaking story. Vince Gill was born on April 12, 1957, in Norman, Oklahoma. His father, J. Stanley Gill, was a lawyer and judge. But outside of work, he had a deep love for music. He played guitar and banjo at parties and local gatherings. Vince's mother, Jareen, also had musical talent. She sang and played the harmonica, filling their home with music. The family often listened to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio, along with rock and roll records. Music was always present, and Vince absorbed it all. His father wanted him to take music seriously, so he taught Vince basic chords on the guitar. At 10 years old, Vince received his first professional instrument, a Gibson ES 335. It was a turning point. He wasn't just a kid playing around with music anymore. He had the tools to develop real skill. His father supported him, but had strict rules. If Vince wanted to play at local bars in high school, he had to keep his grades up. That mix of discipline and encouragement shaped his strong work ethic. By age 7, Vince was already performing in public. One of his first shows was at the War Acres City Hall, opening in 1964. But he didn't just stick to one instrument. He wanted to learn everything. Over the years, he mastered the mandolin, fiddle, dobro, banjo, and bass guitar. He took piano and violin lessons in grade school, but didn't enjoy formal training. He preferred teaching himself by listening to records. Folk, bluegrass, rock, and jazz all influenced his style. By the time he reached junior high, he was already ahead of what any teacher could show him. His guitar teacher even admitted that Vince had skills beyond his years. During his teenage years in Oklahoma City, Vince joined a local bluegrass band called Mountain Smoke. The group became popular and even opened for big acts like Pure Prairie League and Kiss. That 1974 Kiss concert in Oklahoma City became an unforgettable experience. The audience wasn't interested in bluegrass. They were there for loud, heavy rock. When Mountain Smoke started playing, the crowd booed. Instead of backing down, Vince flipped them off and mooned them before walking off stage. It was a moment that showed his sense of humor and toughness. He wasn't intimidated by a hostile crowd. Mountain Smoke wasn't just a teenage band. It gave Vince real experience in performing live. He learned how to work within a group and how different instruments blended together. Bluegrass music was all about teamwork. Each member had a moment to shine, but they also had to support each other. Those lessons stayed with him. After graduating high school in 1975, Vince knew he wanted more. At 18, he left Oklahoma and moved to Louisville, Kentucky. He joined Bluegrass Alliance, a band known for pushing bluegrass music in new directions. Touring with them expanded his skills and exposed him to new audiences. But he didn't stay long. In 1976, he joined Boone Creek, a band led by Ricky Skaggs. This group included talented musicians like Jerry Douglas on dobro. Vince's time with Boone Creek was short, but it started a lifelong friendship with Skaggs. They would collaborate many times throughout their careers. That same year, at 19, Vince made another big move. He headed to Los Angeles and joined Byron Berlin's band Sundance as a session guitarist and harmony vocalist. It was his first real step into the professional music industry. The jump from small-town bluegrass to the LA music scene was huge, but Vince adapted quickly. In 1979, Vince Gill walked into an audition that would change everything. Pure Prairie League needed a new lead singer after Larry Gosshorn left the band. Gill picked up his guitar and played for 4 hours straight, impressing everyone in the room. By the end of the session, he wasn't just another musician trying out. He was their new frontman. His first big moment came in 1980, when the band released Let Me Love You Tonight. The song featured his smooth vocals and a saxophone solo by David Sanborn. It climbed to number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Adult Contemporary chart. That kind of success put Gill in the spotlight. His voice gave the band a fresh new sound, and people took notice. During his time with Pure Prairie League, he recorded 3 albums: Can't Hold Back in 1979, Firin' Up in 1980, and Something in the Night in 1981. He wasn't just a singer, he was a songwriter too. Songs like I'm Almost Ready and Still Right. Here in My Heart showed his talent for blending country rock with pop influences. He was proving himself in every way, but even with all this success, something felt unfinished. Before joining Pure Prairie League, Gill had been deeply involved in bluegrass music. He played with bands like Mountain Smoke and Boone Creek, where he performed alongside Ricky Skaggs. Switching from bluegrass to country rock had been a big change, but he adapted quickly. Still, as time passed, he started thinking about returning to a more traditional country sound. While touring with the band, he met Janice Oliver, a member of the country duo Sweethearts of the Rodeo. They fell in love and got married on April 12, 1980. Their daughter, Jenny Gill, was born in 1982. Music had brought them together, and for a while, their careers and personal lives seemed perfectly in sync. By 1982, Gill knew it was time to move on. Pure Prairie League's later releases weren't as successful, and he was looking for something new. That same year, he joined Rodney Crowell's backing band, the Cherry Bombs. This decision turned out to be one of the most important moves of his career. Playing with the Cherry Bombs put him alongside musicians like Tony Brown and Emory Gordy Jr., people who would later become key collaborators when he launched his solo career. Vince Gill's career took a major turn in 1989 when he signed with MCA Records. That same year, he released When I Call Your Name, an album that changed everything. Produced by Tony Brown at Nashville's Emerald Studios, the record introduced his smooth tenor voice and heartfelt songwriting to a wider audience. It also featured collaborations with Emmylou Harris and Patty Loveless, two artists who shared his love for traditional country music. The title track, released in 1990, became a career-defining song. It tells the story of a man who comes home to an empty house, heartbroken and alone. The pain in Gill's voice made the song unforgettable. Patty Loveless added harmony vocals that made it even more powerful. The song won CMA Single of the Year in 1990 and Song of the Year in 1991. It also earned Gill his first Grammy for Best Male Country Vocal Performance. The album's success went beyond just one song. It produced 4 hit singles: Never Alone, Oklahoma Swing, a duet with Reba McEntire, Never Knew Lonely, and When I Call Your Name. By 1990, the album was certified gold. In 1991, it went platinum. By 1996, it had sold over 2 million copies, reaching double platinum status. The success of this album earned Gill an induction into the Grand Ole Opry in 1991, proving he was now a major force in country music. The 1990s became his decade. His 1992 album, I Still Believe in You, was a massive hit, selling over 4 million copies. The title track became his first #1 hit on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart and won 2 Grammys, Best Country Song and Best Male Country Vocal Performance. Another standout from the album was Don't Let Our Love Start Slipping Away. Released as the second single, it hit #1 on December 26, 1992. Gill wrote the song during a difficult time in his marriage to Janice Oliver, and the lyrics reflected the struggle to keep love alive. The music video was packed with familiar faces, including Reba McEntire, Patty Loveless, and Pam Tillis. Gill had a way of balancing deep, emotional ballads with energetic, upbeat songs. While I Still Believe in You showcased his softer side, One More Last Chance brought a full energy that fans loved. Even earlier albums like Pocket Full of Gold, 1991, added to his success. Songs like Liza Jane and Look at Us Further proved his ability to write music that connected with people. His success wasn't just about hit songs. The awards started piling up. He won Best Country Song 4 times at the Grammys, with Look at Us taking the award in 1992 and Go Rest High on That Mountain in 1996. At the CMA Awards, he made history by winning Song of the Year 4 times, more than any other artist. Gill's music was a perfect blend of neo-traditional country and heartfelt ballads. He never followed trends or tried to fit into the pop country mold. His music remained authentic, combining bluegrass roots with modern storytelling. He was part of the neo-traditional country movement alongside artists like Randy Travis and Patty Loveless. Albums like Pocket Full of Gold, 1991, and High Lonesome Sound, 1996, proved his deep connection to the genre. Songs like Liza Jane showed his bluegrass influence, while Look at Us captured emotions of love and regret. His ballads explored themes of heartbreak, loss, and hope, making them timeless. Critics praised Gill for staying true to his roots, while still evolving as an artist. His voice, often described as angelic, gave even the simplest melodies an unforgettable quality. His refusal to compromise on his style earned him respect from both fans and fellow musicians. Vince Gill's life has been shaped by love, heartbreak, and the challenges of balancing fame with family. In 1980, he married Janice Oliver, a talented musician and member of the country duo Sweethearts of the Rodeo. Their connection seemed perfect. Both shared a deep love for music and built a life together that included their daughter, Jennifer Jareen Gill, born on May 5, 1982. For years, their marriage appeared strong, but the demands of Vince's rising career put a strain on their relationship. The long tours and time spent away created distance that grew harder to ignore. By the mid-1990s, rumors spread about emotional struggles and possible infidelity. Many believed Vince had developed a deep connection with Christian singer Amy Grant. These speculations only added pressure to an already fragile marriage. After 17 years together, Vince and Janice divorced in 1997. Their separation was not just a personal matter. It became a major topic in Nashville's tight-knit music world. Vince had become one of country's biggest stars, and his personal life was now under public scrutiny. He later admitted that maintaining a private life while living in the spotlight was one of the hardest parts of his career. Despite their struggles, he and Janice treated each other with respect. He never denied that their years together had been an important chapter in his life. The emotional weight of his personal life had already shaped his music for years. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Vince's career was reaching new heights, but his home life was unraveling. The pressure to succeed kept him away from his family, and that guilt followed him everywhere. It found its way into his songwriting, especially in When I Call Your Name, released in 1989. The song captured the pain of loneliness and regret, feelings that mirrored his own life at the time. The raw emotion in his voice connected deeply with fans, earning him CMA Song of the Year and Single of the Year in 1990. Success didn't make things easier. Friends noticed a change in Vince. He became quieter, choosing to express his emotions through music rather than conversation. In 1994, Which Bridge to Cross, Which Bridge to Burn, told a story of indecision and regret, themes that reflected his own struggles. His songs weren't just performances, they were confessions. Then in 1997, just as he was adjusting to life after divorce, he faced another devastating loss. His father, Stan Gill, passed away at age 65. Stan had been more than a father. He was Vince's first musical influence, the man who put a guitar in his hands and encouraged his talent. Their bond was strong, but like many father-son relationships, it had its share of unspoken words and unresolved tensions. When Stan died, Vince was left with a grief that weighed heavy on his heart. That loss shaped his music in a new way. In 1998, he released The Key to Life, a song filled with memories of his father. One moment stood out, learning to play classic songs like John Henry on the banjo while Stan watched. The lyrics captured the deep ache of losing a parent, with one line hitting especially hard. The pain of losing him cuts like a Randall knife. It was clear that Vince was still working through emotions he hadn't fully processed. But the song that would define his grief was Go Rest High on That Mountain. He had started writing it years earlier after the death of country singer Keith Whitley in 1989, but he never finished it. After losing his father, the words finally came. The song became an anthem for those mourning loved ones, a tribute that touched people far beyond country music. Through love, loss, and change, Vince Gill turned his struggles into music that felt real. His songs told stories of heartbreak, guilt, and resilience, making him more than just a country star. He became a voice for anyone who had ever lost something or someone they loved. And that honesty is what made his music timeless. Vince Gill and Amy Grant's love story began in the early 1990s. They met through music, and their connection grew over time. Their first performance together happened in December 1993 at Christmas, with Vince Gill in Tulsa, Oklahoma. At the time, Vince was married to Janice Oliver, and Amy was married to Gary Chapman. But something about that night felt different. Amy later admitted that during one performance, she hugged Vince and said, "I've needed to do this all night." She couldn't explain it, but there was a warmth between them that she had never felt before. Their friendship grew stronger as they continued to collaborate. In 1994, they recorded the title track for Amy's album, House of Love. During the video shoot, Amy felt something powerful. She held on to Vince while he sang, later saying that she had never experienced anything like it. But despite their growing bond, they remained committed to their marriages. Vince later said that their connection wasn't something they planned. It just happened as life kept bringing them together. What makes their story even more remarkable is that Vince had admired Amy long before they met. In 1983, he heard Tennessee Christmas on the radio and had to pull his car over. He didn't know why, but something in her voice made him stop and listen. He had no idea that years later, she would become such an important part of his life. But before their love story could truly begin, they both faced painful divorces. Vince's marriage to Janice Oliver ended in 1997, after 17 years. Amy's marriage to Gary Chapman ended in 1999, after nearly 2 decades. Their divorces weren't just personal struggles. They played out in front of the world. Fans speculated that their friendship had led to the breakdown of their marriages. Rumors of infidelity spread quickly, but both denied them. Vince once said that while they were crazy about each other, they never crossed any lines while they were married. Amy also made it clear that while their friendship was public, it had nothing to do with why her first marriage ended. Even though their love was real, the transition wasn't easy. Vince worried about how his teenage daughter, Jenny, would handle the changes. Amy struggled with how people in the Christian community viewed her divorce, but through everything, they leaned on each other. By 1999, they were openly dating. Amy later said that after years of uncertainty, it was a relief when the most beautiful truth of their connection was finally allowed to grow. On March 10, 2000, they got married in an intimate outdoor ceremony. Family and close friends surrounded them. But blending their families was one of the biggest challenges they faced. Amy had 3 children from her previous marriage: Matt, who was 12, Millie, who was 10, and Sarah, who was 7. Vince had Jenny, who was a teenager. The kids had a hard time adjusting. Amy later joked that if you looked at their wedding photos, you'd see grim-faced children who weren't thrilled about the new family dynamic. Things changed in 2001 when Amy and Vince welcomed their daughter, Karina. She became the bridge that helped bring everyone together. Over time, patience and love turned their blended family into a strong and happy one. Amy later said that their home now feels warm and welcoming, something that seemed impossible in the beginning. In late 2018, Vince Gill faced a serious health crisis that forced him to step away from music. It started with kidney stones, a condition that can cause unbearable pain. But things got worse when he developed a severe kidney infection. He had to cancel several performances, including his appearance at the 52nd Annual CMA Awards. The infection was dangerous and needed immediate medical attention to prevent long-term damage. For someone as dedicated to his craft as Gill, stepping away from the stage was not an easy decision. Fans who had followed his career for decades could feel the weight of the situation. By early 2019, Gill was back. His recovery was quick, but the experience was a reminder of how unpredictable health can be. It also showed his resilience. Even after facing so much pain, he returned to doing what he loved. But this was only the beginning of the health challenges he would face in the years ahead. In 2020, doctors discovered that Gill had a congenital heart defect. It was something he had lived with for years without knowing. Routine testing with his cardiologist revealed the condition, and surgery became necessary to prevent serious complications. Open heart surgery is a major procedure that requires weeks of recovery. And for Gill, the timing made it even harder. The world was in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Hospital visits were restricted, and recovery felt even more isolating. At the same time, his wife, Amy Grant, was facing her own health struggles. In June 2020, she underwent open heart surgery for a rare condition called partial anomalous pulmonary venous return. It affects how blood flows between the lungs and heart and can cause major complications if untreated. Having both Gill and Grant go through heart surgery in the same year put an enormous emotional and physical strain on them. But they leaned on each other, determined to get through it together. In 2022, Grant suffered another setback. While riding her bike near Harpeth Hills Golf Course in Nashville, she was involved in a serious accident. She was unconscious for 10 minutes before medical help arrived. The crash left her with memory problems and extreme fatigue. Recovery was slow, and just as she started feeling better, she faced yet another challenge. Doctors found a cyst in her throat that was affecting her voice. In early 2023, she underwent throat surgery to have it removed. Through it all, Gill was by her side. He wasn't just offering physical support. He was her emotional anchor. When Grant felt uncertain about her recovery, he reminded her to take things one day at a time. He reassured her that no matter what changed, they would face it together. Gill never kept these struggles hidden. He spoke openly about the challenges they faced, allowing fans to see the reality of their journey. During Grant's recovery, he shared personal stories about her strength and the difficult moments they endured. In one emotional performance, he introduced their daughter, Karina, to sing When My Amy Prays, a Grammy-winning song he had written as a tribute to Grant. The moment was powerful. It wasn't just about music. It was about love, resilience, and the bond they had built over the years. In 2006, Vince Gill took on one of the biggest challenges of his career. He released, These Days, a 4-disc box set with 43 original songs. Each disc had a different sound. Working on a Big Chill leaned into country rock. The Reason Why had a soulful feel. Some Things Never Get Old stayed true to traditional country. Little Brother was all about bluegrass. It was a bold move that had never been done in country music before. He wasn't just showing off his range. He was proving that great music doesn't have to fit into a single category. The project brought in some of the biggest names in the industry. Alison Krauss, Sheryl Crow, Rodney Crowell, and Diana Krall all contributed their voices and styles. The result was something rare, an album that felt fresh from start to finish. When These Days debuted, it landed at number 17 on the Billboard 200. It went platinum and won the Grammy for Best Country Album in 2008. Critics loved it. Pop Matters called it exhaustive, profound, fun, and fulfilling. The standout tracks included The Reason Why with Krauss and What You Give Away with Crow. Both became singles and helped define the album's success. Gill hadn't originally planned to release 4 discs. He started with a single album in mind, but realized he had too many songs he believed in. His inspiration came from the Beatles, who never stuck to one sound. Instead of cutting songs, he expanded the project. That decision cemented his reputation as an artist who wasn't afraid to take risks. These Days proved that country music could be more than people expected. It could blend with soul, rock, and bluegrass without losing its heart. Collaboration had always been a key part of Gill's career. His work with Alison Krauss stood out. Their Grammy-winning song High Lonesome Sound mixed bluegrass with a haunting melody. On These Days, Krauss added her signature harmonies to The Reason Why and I Can't Let Go. Her voice blended perfectly with Gill's, creating something timeless. Sheryl Crow joined him on What You Give Away, a song that captured the emotion of giving and gratitude. Crow also provided backing vocals on other projects, showing her ability to fit into different styles. Rodney Crowell, one of Gill's longtime friends, teamed up with him for Nothing for a Broken Heart. The song mixed old-school country storytelling with a modern touch. Each of these artists brought something unique, but Gill made sure their voices and styles worked together. In 2017, Gill took on a role no one saw coming. After Glenn Frey passed away in 2016, the Eagles needed someone to help fill the gap. They turned to Gill on July 15, 2017. At Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, he stepped onto the stage as part of the band. Alongside Frey's son, Deacon Frey, he performed some of the band's biggest hits. Take It Easy and Lion Eyes were among them. Fans weren't sure what to expect at first. Gill was a country artist stepping into one of the most iconic rock bands of all time. But the moment he started singing, it was clear he belonged. Don Henley later said that Gill had something special. He knew how to be part of a band without overshadowing anyone. That skill had taken years to develop. Instead of trying to take the spotlight, Gill played rhythm guitar, letting Joe Walsh's solos shine. He respected the sound the Eagles had built while adding his own touch. For Gill, the experience was bittersweet. He once said, "In my heart of hearts, I wish I wasn't doing it." That would mean Glenn would still be around. Even with that sadness, he honored Frey's legacy every time he performed. He continues to tour with the Eagles as part of their farewell tour, The Long Goodbye. While Gill has achieved incredible success, he has never stopped giving back. He believes in mentoring young artists and passing down the lessons he has learned. Jed Hughes and Charlie Worsham, 2 musicians he has worked with, have benefited from his guidance. He doesn't just teach them how to play. He helps them understand the industry and how to stay grounded. His biggest lesson is always the same. Music isn't about playing the most notes. It's about making people feel something. Vince Gill's career is filled with milestones that prove his impact on music. In 2007, he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, joining legends like Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton. This honor recognized his work as a singer, songwriter, and guitarist. Songs like When I Call Your Name and Go, Rest High on That Mountain showed his ability to blend emotion with melody. His songwriting talent earned him a place in the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2005. His lyrics have connected with audiences for decades. Don't Let Our Love Start Slipping Away and High Lonesome Sound are just a few of his best. Go, Rest High on That Mountain was inspired by personal loss. It won CMA Song of the Year and a Grammy for Best Country Song in 1995. Gill's influence goes beyond country music. He was inducted into the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame and received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2012. He has worked with some of the biggest names in music, from Eric Clapton to Barbra Streisand. His ability to move between country, bluegrass, and pop has made him one of the most versatile artists of his time. His awards prove his lasting success. He holds the record for the most CMA Song of the Year wins, earning the title 4 times. No one else has achieved that. He has won 22 Grammy Awards, making him one of the most awarded male artists in history. His Grammys cover country, bluegrass, pop, and folk. Between 1990 and 1997, he won Best Country Vocal Performance, male 5 times. His songwriting earned him Best Country Song 4 times between 1991 and 2007. He won Best Bluegrass Album twice in 2015 and 2019. He continues to evolve, working with artists like Maren Morris on Dear Hate and Paul Franklin on Bakersfield. Beyond awards, his talent sets him apart. His voice has been called Kissed by Angels, bringing warmth and sincerity to every song. He sings with raw emotion, making his ballads unforgettable. His guitar playing is just as impressive. He blends flat picking and fingerstyle techniques, creating expressive solos. He has been compared to Chet Atkins and Eric Clapton. His ability to play lead guitar while singing makes him rare in country music. In 1991, he became a member of the Grand Ole Opry. That night, he sang When I Call Your Name with tears in his eyes. Unlike many members, he still performs there regularly. He values the Opry not just for tradition, but for the friendships he has made. He has shared the stage with icons like Roy Acuff and Jimmy Dickens, keeping country music's history alive.